Welcome to the Women in Wealth podcast, brought to you by Regina McCann-Hess, a certified financial planner with over 2 decades of experience. This show is for professional women who want guidance in working towards their retirement vision in learning, building, planning, striving for your dreams, and putting the work in now so that you can pursue your financial independence. Hello, I'm Regina McCann-Hess, president of Forge Wealth Management, and welcome to our Women in Wealth series. Today, we have a new friend with us. And Alvina, can you tell us who you are, what you do, and what you love about what you do?
Okay, I'm Alvina Peat. My company is Williams Peat and Associates LLC. My focus is career empowerment for women. So I design and deliver professional development programs to help women take control of their careers.
Love that. So tell us, I don't know, tell us the average type of professional woman that you work with. Give us a visual of the person that works well with you.
Okay, so it runs the gamut because my program originally was designed for um, junior to mid-career professionals. But as my practice expanded, I would get women who were well along in their careers, who were very seasoned and high ranking, who wanted some guidance as they decided on what was next, what was the next chapter going to be. But then I also started to become um, a mentor to younger women who were in college and trying to figure out, what am I going to do? What am I going to major in? What am I going to do after college? And so as I continue this work, my audience expands.
Love that. And that I never thought of a coach for somebody coming out of college, but I can totally see the need of that because, you have a degree, but you don't have life experience yet. You don't have the actual experience. And I know a lot of people go and get this degree and it's not really exactly what they want to do. So you're helping them figure out where they can fit in the working world.
Yeah, yeah. As you know, I have a book called Take
Yeah.
Control of Your Career, Do What You Desire, Dare, and Deserve to Do. And I was at a local library uh, doing a free workshop, and a young woman was there. I did not remember meeting her, but apparently she remembered. We had an exchange, and I received a random email. And she said, I'm looking to um, identify a coach that can help me, and I'm not sure if it's you, but would you be willing to, talk to me? And so we jumped on a phone call, and, after listening to her, I could tell what she needed. She knew what her interests were. She
Mhm.
didn't know what direction to go in. And
Okay.
so I said, sure, I'll help you. And I remember her saying, well, what's your fee? And at the time, I didn't really hadn't considered the student, right? And I said, well, I don't charge students. I said, I won't charge you. And she said, really? And I said, because let's practice together. You let me know how effective I'm being, if I'm being helpful to you. And and if you think that I am, then that's currency for me, that I was able to help you and I'm able to build or establish a coaching practice for younger women. And so about a year after, a year into our mentor coach relationship, she was making great strides. I was able to open her eyes to a lot of possibilities that she had not thought were possible. And now she's just doing her thing.
I love that story. Absolutely love that story. But wait a minute. Let's talk about your book. Tell us more about your book.
So the book, as I said, the title is Take Control of Your Career, Do What You Desire, Dare, and Deserve to Do. So the book has it's an interesting story behind the book.
Mhm.
I have a retreat called Her Empowerment Retreat. That retreat is built on 4 pillars of empowerment. I call them the four pillars of empowerment. I do, I desire, I dare, and I deserve.
Ooh.
So the I do is, what are my superpowers? What are my strengths? Oftentimes, people don't stop to assess that. And especially women, we just put our
Hmm.
head down and get it done. But we don't always think about what we're bringing to the table. We think about what we're not bringing, where the gaps are, but we don't lean into our strengths or celebrate them. And so, and as I call them, your personal realization of power, your prop. I call them props. It's in the book. Personal realization of power. I think that everything begins from there. When you know what your powers are, your superpowers are, you're on solid foundation. And then I say, and then I say, well, what is it that you really want to do? What's your heart's desire? And typically we're talking professionally, but oftentimes it's, in your personal life. But what if you were absolutely certain you would succeed, what would you do? And so that's the I desire. And then it comes to the I dare. So what's stopping you? What's stopping you from having your heart's desire or going after your heart's desire? And that's when I loop back into your props, that personal realization of power, that superpower that will help you achieve or at least lean into your heart's desire and knock away those barriers. I call them gremlins, that noise that gets into the head that says, I don't know enough, I don't have enough time, I'm too old, I'm too young. Like, and then finally, I deserve. Because most of the time, what I find, again, with women, we will say, well, when the kids, oh, when our parents, oh, when my spouse or partner. And so what that sounds like is, well, I don't deserve it yet.
Mm.
And so
Mm.
I wanted to create a space or a pillar that says, what does deserving feel like? And what does it feel like to put your needs, I'm not even going to say in front of, but on the same level as those to whom you care for? Because we have been conditioned, many of us, and I
Yep.
always like to say this. I make generalizations, but I recognize that it's not for everyone. It's not everyone's story and every woman's story. But in general, women have been conditioned to um, put themselves last.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
everybody else is taken care of, and then it's my turn.
And it's never our turn.
Right. Well, right. The goal keeps moving.
Yeah.
And so, and I talk about in detail in my program. But back to the book. So I do this 1 day retreat in 2016 or 2017, and I have a dear friend and where we formed a mastermind group,
Cool.
and she encouraged me to take the video from my retreat and translate that into a book. It's like, no way. I'm not doing that. She's like, it's so much good content. You've paid an uber amount of money for this uh, video, this person to record from start to end of your day.
Hmm.
And what are you going to do with it now?
Yeah.
And so I thought about it, and this is what a good friend will do. She said, I tell you what, I'll transcribe it for you. I'll take your video and I'll turn it into a transcript. And all you have to do is figure out how to make your outline and your book from there.
Whoa.
And she did that for me. And then I still dragged my feet.
Hmm.
But then COVID happened
Oh, yeah.
and I had some time. And I had time for two things. I had time to write the book, and then I had time to turn that book into what a corporate program. So that
Mm.
1 day retreat is now a 4 day program that I offer for clients. My primary client right now is the University of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
But and in a university setting, The
Yeah.
program is open to all.
Okay.
It's open to all. And in my retreat settings, my private settings, I focus on women's empowerment, and that is in their personal and professional life. So the book, the retreat was first, then the book, and then the 4-day program.
Love it. Love it. Wow. You unpacked a lot there. So, if someone wants to learn more about you and what you're doing and also your book, tell us how they're going to find you and how they can find the book.
Book is on Amazon. Out. Take control of your career. Do what you desire and dare to deserve to do. That's on Amazon. You can find me on my website, alvinapeat.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn. Those are
Oh,
my
good.
primary, those are my primary contacts.
Nice, 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 nice. Yes, and it is definitely on Amazon because I did order it on Amazon, so it came like within 2 days. So I'm loving that. I love that service. So I'm curious about your challenges that you faced as a working woman.
Hmm. My biggest challenge as a working woman is me.
Okay.
Stopping myself, getting in my own way. And so although I teach and write about and soon to have a podcast about taking control of your career or your business or your personal life, um, you can stop yourself.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I still, have those moments where I have to remind myself, yes, you can take care of yourself. Yes, you can go after that assignment or that client, and everybody at home will be okay. Um, so those are the biggest challenges, the internal, those gremlins that get inside that tell you that you shouldn't or you couldn't.
Absolutely. Every day it's like a constant battle,
Mhm.
and you picture the angel and the devil on your shoulder from like TV shows, and it's like they're in your head, right? The imposter syndrome, and no, you can do it. And
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is a constant, you have to constantly work at it, and give yourself the positive affirmations to say, no, you can do it. And you
You
are
know,
doing it. You are doing it.
exactly. You are doing it and you're
Yeah.
doing enough. I talk about this a lot in my programs. There's always going to be a narrative.
Hmm.
Women can't do this, women shouldn't do this, women are afraid to do that, women hold, we know that. I work on the internal narrative. What am I saying to myself?
Yeah.
Because nothing that you say or do is going to be any worse than what I already say to myself. But I can be better than what you can say to me. So fill
True.
myself up. I tell this often, and I don't know if you've ever heard this, but when I was learning to swim, I learned to swim very late in life. And the whole idea of getting the chlorine messing with my hair was always on my mind.
Hmm.
So the stylist said to me, she said, your hair is like a sponge. And I said, what? She said, hair, it's like a sponge. She said, so what I want you to do is before you get in the pool, go to the shower, the sink, wherever, and saturate your hair, get it sopping wet. She said, and then put your cap on, your swim cap on. And I said, okay. She said, because the chlorine, the water from the pool won't be able to penetrate as much because you've already filled your follicles in your hair with clean water. If
Oh.
some will get in, but it won't be as bad. So I started thinking about that and I said, that's life. I
Hmm.
fill myself up, or if you fill yourself up with, you know what, I did this well today. I knocked the ball out of the park today. Whatever you want to do to motivate yourself and sincerely motivate yourself and fill yourself up.
Yeah.
The other stuff that's out there that's coming in that says, oh, well, not today, you don't have the qualifications today, or that'll hit, but it won't penetrate. It won't penetrate. It'll hit because you're
Yeah.
human, but it won't
Yeah.
penetrate.
I love it. And I love your hairdresser is brilliant, by the way. Like what a great thing to tell you. And you're right. It flows through life. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. The little things.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Little things do make a huge difference.
Hmm.
So tell us what your vision of retirement is.
I don't vision retirement.
Okay.
As long as there's breath in my body, I will be writing, speaking, teaching, podcasting, whatever the thing is at that stage of life that will help to lift women up.
Love it. Love it. Wow, we have to get you to in front of a bunch of women's groups. You're so uplifting. I love your story. I love what you're doing. And obviously, women along all stages of their career need help. But I'm loving the fact that you're helping the younger ladies too. Because I think if you set them out on the right path, that
Mhm.
path is a little bit more straighter for them as opposed to some of the, winding roads that we tend to take. So kudos to you for doing that.
Well, thank you.
Hmm. I think our action item today, and you can add to this, is to work on that voice in your head with counter conversation of what are the positive things that you have done and what has been a good experience for you.
Yes, I agree. Um, and one of the things that I think we don't do enough is we do not celebrate our successes. We
Absolutely.
move on to the next thing. And I tell women often, I came to football later in life, right? Like
Hmm.
watching football. And I used to be curious as to why these men celebrated, and it felt like they ran like a millisecond and they're celebrating. And then I started paying attention and I said, you know what? They know something that I don't. They know that every little inch toward that ultimate touchdown or that ultimate whatever is worth celebrating. They
Yeah.
know what it takes to get to that little bit of movement is worth celebrating. And so I say to women in every one of my classes, watch a football game, watch how those guys celebrate. They do not wait until they get a touchdown to celebrate. They celebrate all the way up the field. I want us to begin to celebrate all the way up the field.
Oh, that is great advice. I love it. Amazing. Well, I thank you for being with me today. I think our audience is going to love this episode. So much great information in here, and thank you so much for sharing part of you with us.
You're welcome.
And I want to thank everyone else for joining us. Again, I'm Regina McCann Hess, president of Forge Wealth Management. My website is forgewealth.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Forge Wealth, and on LinkedIn, Regina McCann Hess. And I would like to move on to the lawyer section. I am going to read our compliance disclosure. It's just something that we're required to do, so bear with me. And again, I just want to thank you for joining me on the episode today of Women in Wealth. You can watch the founders video that I created for you to learn more about me and how I can help guide you towards your financial independence at www.forgewealth.com. The information in this podcast and video is educational and general in nature and does not take into consideration the listener's personal circumstances. Therefore, it's not intended to be a substitute for specific individualized financial, legal or tax advice. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a final decision. Securities are offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, and SIPC. Investment advice is offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and Forge Wealth Management are separate entities from LPL Financial, and our show guests and their companies are not affiliated with nor endorsed by LPL Financial, Private Advisor Group, or Forge Wealth Management. Thank you and have a great day. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Women in Wealth podcast. You can watch the founders video I created for you to learn more about me and how I can guide you towards your financial independence at www.forgewealth.com. The information in this podcast is educational and general in nature and does not take into consideration the listener's personal circumstances. Therefore, it is not intended to be a substitute for specific, individualized financial, legal, or tax advice. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a final decision. Securities are offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, and SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and Forge Wealth Management are separate entities from the LPL Financial. Our show guests and their companies are not affiliated with nor endorsed by LPL Financial, Private Advisor Group, or Forge Wealth Management.